Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about a crazy quote from Kevin Sheehan saying that some players in the Washington Commanders think that Jahan Dotson is the best receiver on the team. So I'll react to that quote and more. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And also go ahead and check out Real Time Fantasy Sports. Man, we are so close to the training camp today. The players will be reporting. We'll see who's on the PUP list, and then tomorrow is when practices actually start, and we'll get to see Jahan Dotson in some pads. And if he plays well in training camp, then the expectations are going to continue to go up. And then same thing with preseason, and then we'll actually get to the regular season. But I saw a quote right here from Kevin Sheehan that really caught my eye. Shout out Ed Oliver, who shared this to me on Twitter. Also, congrats to Ed on his having his second kid. But this is what Kevin Sheehan said on the Al Galdi podcast. Someone told me recently some of the players believe Dotson is the best receiver on the team. That's how great he looked in the offseason. That to me is absolutely insane. And it's not a bad quote, of course. I mean, we already know what Terry is. We know he's a top 10, top 15 receiver depending on how you look at it. I think this year he will show that he is a top 10, top 12 receiver because he actually has a capable QB throwing him the football, and then also he has some good receivers around him, so that's really going to help his numbers in my opinion. But to say that Jahan Dotson, who hasn't even played a single snap, when training camp hasn't even started, preseason hasn't started, to say that he's, some players think he's already better than Jahan Dotson, that shows how good he's been playing this offseason, and that shows how good he might be this year. I mean, my expectations for him before all this hype started was kind of like 750 yards, but then I increased those stat totals to, like, I think my prediction was like 820 the last time I was on a live stream. I think he's gonna be that good, but I mean, I'm not gonna increase it again because he literally training camp hasn't even started. So I do not want to get ahead of myself because quotes like these always hype fans up, myself included. But I just have to remember, Jahan Dotson hasn't played a single snap yet in the NFL, and it's barely been halfway through they haven't played done training camp or anything like that. So I actually have to see it before I truly believe it. I think he will be good because everyone has, who was there doing OTAs or, some sources for the team, like who told Kevin Sheehan, have said that he's looked good. But again, that was a small, short period of time. We need to see it over an extended period of time. So if he continues to play well during training camp, then again, his expectations the expectations for him are going to rise a little bit. And then the preseason, I don't really care too much about the preseason with him, but if he plays well, then again his expectations are going to go up, and we'll see what he does this season. But I just think to say that Dotson is better than Terry McLaurin is absolutely crazy, because McLaurin is already a top 12, top 15 receiver, top 15 at worst in my opinion. Maybe you could say top 16 at worst, and Jahan Dotson hasn't played a snap in the league. So to say that players think he's better than Terry, in my opinion, is crazy. But that again it's a good quote because it just shows how much these players believe in Dotson and how well he has played this offseason during OTAs, during rookie minicamp. But we got to see it for a little bit longer than that. But just a refresher on Jahan Dotson, some of his stats last year. He had a great year, 1,200 receiving yards, had 12 touchdowns that year, had 1 rushing touchdown as well, so 13 total touchdowns, 1,200 yards from scrimmage. Had a really solid year for Penn State, and he did that with no good receivers around him really, and also not great QB play. So similar to Terry McLaurin. So I think if I really would have studied him before the draft, like I did with Chris Olave, like I did with Garrett Wilson, Drake London, I would have had him above Chris Olave, no doubt, and maybe some of these other guys. I think he's gonna have a good rookie year, but to say he's better than Terry McLaurin, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. And it's not us, it's a source that Kevin Sheehan had close to the team saying that the players think that. And maybe maybe some of the players actually think that, and I'm wondering, like, if they polled the players, how many actually, think Jahan's better, because it could just be one or two, because let's see what the quote is. Let's see what the quote. It says, someone told me some of the players, so some could be 2 or 3, and these players, some of them are crazy, some of them have totally different opinions, and that's fine. If it was like 7, 8, 9 players out of 53 that think that Terry's better, or I guess it's 90 now, so like let's say if 10 players out of those 90 think that Jahan's better than Terry, that's very, very significant. But if it's like 1 or 2, then I don't really think it's a big deal. Now I want to show you guys some clips from Jahan during these, off-season kind of workouts. Let's see. This one was rookie mini camp. This was with Sam Howell. You guys will see it right there. Jahan Dotson's on the bottom of the screen. Nice route right there. Nice catch. His hands are just insane, man. Like, it just sticks to his gloves. He has great, great hands. And then you see another guy right there. Now let's look at another play from Jahan Dotson. Again, the ball just sticks to his hands. This one was really, really nice right there. He's got great hands. One of the probably the best hands out of anyone in this draft. He's got, in this past draft, got great elusiveness as well, and he's got good speed. Like, he's got 4.4 speed, but like, I think he runs honestly faster than that if you actually watch the game tape. Usually it's like, they ran a 4.4, but on game tape, on film, it's more like a 4.5. I think it's kind of the opposite with Jahan Dotson. He's really quick, and he's also solid in contested catches as well. Like, there's no really huge weaknesses in his game. He's not necessarily elite at a ton of different things coming out of college, but of course that could change in the NFL. We will see. So real quick, I did this in another video, but I kind of wanted to go over it again. Kind of, we've had some new information and things like that, kind of going over expectations for Jahan Dotson in his rookie year. So I mean, even though we're getting all these great reviews and everything, again, we haven't seen him play a single NFL snap, even play anything with pads on. So I don't want to get my expectations too high, but I think it wouldn't be too unreasonable to expect anywhere from like 700 to 800 yards in his rookie year. Are those amazing numbers? No, but those are very, very good numbers for a rookie receiver drafted in the middle of the first round. So if he can get 700, that's really solid. And if he can get 800 plus, I think that is amazing. Like, that is like not necessarily best case scenario, because I think like it's unlikely he gets over 1,000, but I think it's possible. I do think it's possible for him to go over 1,000 yards in his rookie year. But pretty unlikely. Like, I would say like a 10% chance. But I think like after the draft, I was kind of thinking he would be like the third option in the offense, with Terry obviously being number 1, Curtis being 2, and then Jahan. But right now, I think it's going to be Terry 1, and then Jahan 2, and then Curtis. And depends on how many snaps or how many games Logan Thomas misses. He could be 2 or 3, but I think Jahan Dotson will be the number 2 target in this offense, especially kind of that second half of the season once he starts, because usually rookies might take a little bit longer to to figure things out. So he might be a little bit slow to start the season off, but after that he'll be continue to get better and better and better. So I think over like that second half of the season, I definitely think he will be the number 2 option on this team. And so today the players are reporting to camp, and I'm recording this on the 25th, so one day before. And any predictions I have for training camp, for PUP list, I think Chase Young 100% will be on the PUP list. Same thing with Logan Thomas. I think I wouldn't put 100%, but very, very likely that both those guys will be on the PUP list. And then I think Chase Roulier has a solid shot at being on the PUP list, maybe for a week or so, and then he'll be off of it. And I think Tyler Larson could also be on the PUP list as well, because he tore his Achilles, I believe, midway through the season, maybe a little bit later than that as well. So he probably will be out, will be on the PUP list. And a reminder, being on the PUP list to start off training camp is not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean you're going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. It just means that you can't go through all these drills to start off training camp, and they can take you off the PUP list before they finalize the 53-man roster. And if they do, you're not going to miss any games. You're not going to miss those 6 games to start the season. But if you start the season on the PUP list, then you miss 6 games. And then in terms of IR, if a player is put on IR before the season starts, before the 53-man roster is finalized, they're out for the season. So today, Justin Ross on the Kansas City Chiefs was placed on IR. He will be out for the season, but you can place players on IR during the season or after the roster is finalized, and they're out for, last year was 3 games. I think this year they changed it to 4. Still, definitely less than the PUP list. So that's kind of it for today's video. Kind of a, crazy quote from Kevin Sheehan saying that Jahan Dotson is, that some players think he's better than Terry McLaurin, which again I think is crazy, but also just shows how good Jahan has looked this offseason. So we'll see if he can, continue to do that in training camp, preseason, and after that as well. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Also, again, make sure you guys check out Real-Time Fantasy Sports. All their information is in the description. They're a great fantasy football, also fantasy baseball site. Peace, guys.